if you're a high school senior photographer and the biggest question you have is, how do you make money with your high school senior photography business? This video is for you. In fact, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how to price for senior portraits right in this video here. Hey there, photography friend, Sean Brown here, and thanks so much for making it over to the YouTube channel where we break down all things senior photography, how to build a senior photography business of your dreams to give you more freedom and flexibility, and ultimately time to do what you love. This has been a highly requested video that we're putting out today, which is how do you price your high school senior photography services? How do you make some money with this whole business? And what do you do first? What do you do second to make sure that you're not just making pennies on the dollar? In fact, one of the things that we do for our students, whether it's inside of their mastermind or even for our students with our free download, like our pricing blueprint, which you can grab in the description below, is we teach you how to price for profit. How do you make money with photography in a way that you're not just working for $1 or $2 where you feel like you do a bunch of photo shoots, but your bank account definitely isn't reflecting that? How do you make sure that you actually get paid for doing what you love? So we're going to start from the very top, which is the biggest pricing mistake that I see so many photographers making, which we're going to fix right here today. Now, this isn't that you did anything wrong, but this is probably just because you didn't know where to start when you did this whole thing. You're not a business person, you're a photographer. And so it's probably pretty unlikely that you knew exactly what you were supposed to do when it came down to pricing and how to actually run a business. And the biggest pricing mistake that we see photographers making is that you don't know how much to price your senior photos at. So what do? You pull out your trusty dusty laptop and you start Googling other senior photographers around you. You Google senior photographers in your town. And what do? You go to their websites and you look at what they're charging. And this actually sounds like a great idea on the surface because guess what? They've actually just done all the work for you, right? Well, there is actually some reasons why this is actually the worst thing that you can possibly be doing. Because the first thing that happens is now you are pricing your business for somebody else's life. In fact, you don't know all the essentials that are key to knowing how to price your photography, like your cost of doing business or how much you want to make. Maybe they're living a lifestyle that's very different from yours. And if you were to price your business where they've priced theirs, it's not to say that that doesn't work for them, but it might not work for you. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to leave if my photography business is successful just up to chance. In fact, that's the last thing I want to do. I want to make sure that I know that my photography business is going to be successful, and making sure that you're priced is pretty much the first step in that all. The other thing too is there's kind of this underlying assumption that where they've priced their photography is that's where they've priced because that's what the market supports. Well, this is the biggest myth of them all. And one of the reasons for this is when clients are looking and when they're shopping for photographers and looking for the perfect fit, what they're doing is they're going to several different photographers. I hate to break it to you, you're not the only one that they're asking and inquiring about pricing for. They're probably emailed or messaged tens, if not 20 different photographers asking for pricing and figuring out who's going to fit them, what they're looking for the best. Now, the reason why this is so bad as well is we call this the price quality heuristic. Now, we talked a little bit about this in our very first video on the channel, which is how to start a high school senior photography business. But one of the things that we didn't talk about is why this is actually happening. And the first thing in this price quality heuristic, it's a fancy term for a shortcut that your brain makes. Now, think of it as if you were just driving and you know how to get home, but your brain isn't like consciously thinking about every single turn that you're making. And you've probably had the experience where you start at the grocery store and you've made it home and you don't remember the drive at all. Leave in the comments if you're guilty of that, because that happens to me all the time. Our brain just kind of fills in the blanks with stuff and information that we already know. We know what turns to make, we know exactly what streets to take, and we get home safely. Our brain does the exact same things. And so what happens is with this price quality heuristic, our brains over time have subconsciously filled in the missing information that low cost or low prices also equals low quality. A great example of this is the next time that you're looking to shop at a store and you're looking for a quality item, notice what you do. If it's too cheap, well, you don't think, well, that's such a great deal. You ask yourself, well, what's the catch? Well, your clients are doing the exact same thing with you. Now, if you're priced in that low tier, because that's what the market supports, well, now what your clients are going to do is they're just going to go and shop for the cheapest photographer out there. They're not going to even consider how amazing your work is, your experience, the service, the level of customer service you're going to deliver to them. They're not worried about any of that, because guess what? They've already decided that your low prices equal low quality. And if you price yourself in the middle, well, what happens is you get squeezed. You either have the clients that are not wanting to spend any money with photography, they're going with the lower, cheaper options. And the clients who do want to invest in their experience, well, they're playing into that price quality heuristic, and they're thinking that the photographer is charging the higher prices are the better deal, so they're going to them. So you in the middle, where everybody has priced themselves, and chances are that's exactly where your competitors are priced right now, well, now all of a sudden you've kind of eliminated yourself from the discussion. So the people that want to pay are going to go to the higher prices. The people who don't want to pay, they're going to go to the cheaper photographers, and you're left with two options. One, you either step into the luxury end of senior photographers, or you have to lower your prices in order to compete. Now, I don't know about you, but chances are I want to be known as the go-to photographer, and that's exactly how I've built my six-figure high school senior photography business, by stepping into that luxury high-end market. So that's the first thing, the biggest pricing mistake. Don't just base your pricing off what others charge because you think that that's what the market supports. All right, now that you know that, the big thing is, well, how do you calculate your prices? And I'm going to teach you a very easy, simple formula that we teach all of our students inside of our Senior Photography Mastermind, which is the number of sessions that you want to photograph, the amount of income that you want, and what are your overhead or your business expenses that you have. We take into account those three items. The first thing that you want to do, and this is where it can get a little bit hairy if you're not super accurate, is you want to calculate what your cost of doing business is. Your cost of doing business is simply how much is it that you're paying for services such as your website, your Adobe subscriptions, maybe you've got some other software or apps that you're using. How much is it that you're paying on a yearly basis for those? Other things might include your business insurance, your business licenses, anything that you do to operate your business. So if you've got a studio like I do, you want to make sure you're including your studio rent, camera equipment. So if you're planning on upgrading your camera equipment or gear anytime soon, you're going to want to account for that. You're going to basically look and say, what have I spent money on over the past 12 months? Now, if you're just getting started, forecast. What is it that you expect to be investing in? Maybe you're investing in some education for how to run your business better. That's a cost of doing business. You want to make sure you're accounting for this. Now that you know what your business expenses are going to be, I recommend going into an Excel or Google Sheets and just tallying up all of that. In fact, it'll do all of the math for you. It's my favorite thing. You can just tell them to sum up all of those numbers and we'll get you taken care of. If you're in my senior photography mastermind, you've actually got all those tools inside of there already. The next thing that you want to do, and this is a discussion that, especially if you're in a relationship, married, you want to have this discussion with your spouse. And that is, what is it that you need to be bringing in as a photographer? And yes, this is a great conversation to have with them. Even if you say, oh, well, my spouse handles the finances, you want to know roughly what is it that what are their expectations? What is it that you need to be bringing to the household? This is a great place to start because this now determines what your income will be. Now, if you're in a situation and you're saying, hey, you know what? I'm super blessed. I'm super fortunate. I don't have to worry about all of that. Wonderful. That's a completely different discussion, but think of what it is that you can do. How much is it that you want to make in order to help contribute to retirement? Help plan a family trip, help pay yourself out of debt. What is it that this business is going to do for you? And once you have that number in your head, that's your income, that's your revenue that you want to make sure that you're bringing in at least. Now, notice that I say income and revenue. These are two different numbers, and this is really important to distinguish. What you make is not going to be what you're bringing home because we have to account for the things like your cost of doing business, things like your websites, your subscriptions, your apps, your studio, your equipment that you're using, all of those types of things. Google Ads, right? All of the metrics and the numbers that go into what makes up a business. We also need to make sure that we're also doing the legal stuff like paying your taxes and making sure that you don't get audited and have no money to pay, right? So you want to make sure you're accounting for what is your tax bracket. Now, on average, to be conservative, we tell photographers based on their state or local taxes. Now, this is not personal financial advice, so ask your accountants, ask your CPAs. You want to account for typically about 30% at least that you're going to be paying in taxes. For the most part, this is going to suffice for your local state taxes as well as federal taxes. Now, if you live in a high tax state, you're probably going to want to do a little bit more. Again, disclaimer, not certified financial advice, but definitely something that you're going to want to make sure that you do. The other thing, now that you know kind of your income that you're going to be bringing in, now you need to ask, okay, well, how many sessions do you want to photograph? This is a huge, huge topic because there's no right answer. In fact, the right answer is actually what is right for you and your business. Now, there are some photographers that are going to be perfectly happy photographing 100, 200 senior sessions a year. Now, for me, that's a lot. In fact, what I personally photograph is about 40 to 50 high school seniors a year, and this is the number that's perfect for me. Now, I'm priced at a level that allows me to generate the income I want based on that number, and this is the next step, which is, now that you've calculated your cost of doing business, what you want to make, you're going to add those two numbers together. So you're going to take what it is that you're going to be expecting to spend in expenses and what is your income that you want to make and add those together. So for example, if you want to make $40,000 a year and you have $10,000 in expenses, you now want to be aiming to bring in $50,000. So if that doesn't make sense, pause the video, calculate those numbers, and add those together. Hopefully, simple arithmetic isn't going to throw you too much. All right, unpause. Now that you know those numbers, what you're going to do is you're going to take the number of sessions that you want to photograph. Think if you want to spend more time with your family, maybe you live in a super rainy part of the world like I do in Portland, Oregon, and you've only got 4, maybe 5 months to photograph, you may want to take that into account as well, versus a photographer that can photograph year round and photograph 60 sessions and have them more spread out. Think of how much you're able to handle. So if you only have 4 months to photograph and you're going to photograph 30 clients a year, you're going to be planning to photograph about 3 to 4 sessions a week in order to hit that number, roughly, give or take. Now, once you've done that, you're going to take that number you calculated, the revenue goal, your cost of doing business plus your income, and you're just going to divide that by the number of seniors that you want to photograph. That is going to give you your average sale required. Now, this is typically the part where we have some of our students go into freak out mode. Don't freak out yet, because one of the things that we're doing is we're giving you our pricing blueprint down in the description below. It's our free download, our gift to you, so that you can start seeing that there is some light at the end of the tunnel. And it's the exact steps that students like Laura have taken to have $3,800 senior session sales. Mariella's used to have $3,000 back-to-back senior session sales. So it is possible in every single market out there. One of the things that you want to make sure you're doing is the last step, the most important one, which is, what is it that you're going to do for your clients? Now that you have that price, that number in your head, it's probably a lot higher than even you had thought. Now that you know where you need to be priced, the biggest thing now is, how are you going to create value for your clients? What is it that they're going to gain as a result of working with you? Is this a transformation of some sorts? One of the reasons why our clients love to work with us is that the transformation that they experience, and we speak to this on a very emotional level with the parents, is that they're going to have renewed self-confidence. They're going to walk out of the session being able to see themselves how others see them. For the senior, what we're telling them is we're going to capture them in a way that they stand out, that they're able to come out and see their photos exactly how it is that they want to be seen, that we capture them for their true authentic beauty. And we do this through offering things like products, being able to make sure that we're creating that value for them, being able to see this long term, that we're capturing and documenting this milestone in their lives with physical products. We're also doing this through things like making sure our hair and makeup team is trained so that they look like themselves. Editing, we keep them looking natural. Locations, wardrobe, pairing those together. We're doing all these things to create value behind what it is that we do. And one of the best ways to establish value is to offer photography products. So if you have questions on that, make sure to grab that pricing blueprint down below. Gets lots of questions answered for you. And then, as always, hit us up in the comments. Leave a comment asking any questions you have, any future topics that you want. But that is how to price your high school senior photography business in a nutshell. So to recap, don't make the mistake of saying, hey, what is it that other photographers in my market are charging? That's the worst thing you can do. Do step number 2, which is calculate your cost of doing business, how much you want to make, add those together, divide that by the number of senior sessions that you want to photograph in a given year, and that gives you your average sale. And lastly, build value. Showcase exactly why it is that you are asking these premium prices. What is it that you're going to do for those clients? Now, if it scares you to begin charging these premium prices at first, that's totally natural. It's totally normal. You can work yourself up gradually. However, one of the things that we see is the photographers that are the most successful, they rip the Band-Aid off and they're off to the races by starting to get clear on what is it that they're going to do, how is it that they're providing value for their clients, and among other things, why is it that you are the go-to senior photographer in your market? So that wraps up for this video. If it was helpful, make sure to leave a comment, like button, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well so you can keep up to date on other videos that we're going to be continually putting out throughout the year. And we've also got another video for you, so check it right here.